Welcome back. It is 9:45, 72 degrees outside. In the last census, the total number of Boerne residents was just over 10,000.
But those numbers have exploded in just a matter of years with new developments, both commercial and residential. Joining us now here on GMSA at 9, KSAT.com's Chris Shadrock, who's done an online mini-series of sorts highlighting Boerne and their growing pains. And full disclosure, Chris, you live up there in Boerne, right?
I live in Boerne. Our family moved out there about 2002, 2003, so we've been out there for a while.
So
our family has seen
you know what you're talking about.
Yes.
So now that you've been out there for quite a while, when did this boom start, and how many years essentially has it been in the making?
Honestly, I would say, to the chagrin of maybe the longtime folks in Boerne, when my family moved out there, we were the start of the boom. About the early 2000s. You know, those first cookie cutter home developments started kind of creeping out that way.
Yeah, it was Fair Oaks and then eventually towards Boerne.
And all of that. So that has been going on for well over a decade. It did slow down for a bit during the economic downturn, but the difference that we're seeing now is not only in terms of the master plan communities that will have between 500 and 2,500 homes proposed and planned in them, but we're also starting to see the commercial end of it. We're seeing businesses start to come out to Boerne, and people are starting to say, okay, hold on. You know, we have this idea of what Main Street is. We have this idea of what Boerne looks like, and these businesses maybe don't match the aesthetic.
So wrestling with its identity is...
Absolutely.
And there's some downsides, too, possibly to that.
It's a big part of it. It's not just commercial that people, not just commercial, not just the traffic, but the police department, and one of the stories that you reported said crime, not crime that's violent, but the police calls are up 42%.
Yeah, and in the past...
What are they going to do about that?
Well, the one thing that the chief did tell me is, like, their plan is to add about 1 to 3 officers this year, budget permitting. So they, you know, obviously have to go to city council and get the money for all of that. And the good thing is, I mean, these calls are, I'm a case point in it. A couple of years ago, I called and said, hey, I haven't heard from my dad in a few days. Can y'all go knock on his door? And it come to find out, they knocked on his door. He called me and said, oh, I guess my phone is broken. Okay. His cell phone had been broken. So, I mean, they're doing calls like that, and they're very approachable within the community, and they're spending their time doing that. So the crime rate has stayed relatively stable over the years. There hasn't been a huge increase in any one offense for officers to have to respond to, but the biggest issue that they are, of course, facing is traffic, trying to get from one side of town to the other.
And from traffic, talking about the retail and commercial development, I guess one of the concerns also is going to be property values and making sure that Boerne remains affordable. A lot of people live there a long time, but we're probably going to see a spike here, if not already, right?
Oh, absolutely. And that has been the question that, you know, from speaking to one of the city council members that I spoke to, 60% of the homes right now that are approved for development, and there's 5,000 homes approved in the Boerne area, 60% are $250,000 north.
Wow.
So that is not entry level by any stretch of the imagination. And they have been wrestling with this issue of how do we get our teachers who teach in this great school district to afford living in Boerne, and nobody has the answer. There is no one solution right now, and there's nothing on the table that says, this is what we need to do to make this affordable.
Well, some of the hot topics is some of that development.
Right, and and not only, we were just talking about this, we've got Buc-ee's looking at, we've got the talk about Chick-fil-A, we've got, you know, some developments that have been protested.
There's definitely a lot of rumored developments, and there's proposed developments, and then there's what's coming. Buc-ee's is coming. 17 Herf is very much proposed and probably will occur in some capacity. That property will be developed somehow, but there's always talks of a Chick-fil-A, there's talks of a Target, an Academy Sports.
And some people want that, some people don't.
Absolutely. And you talk to a lot of folks in Boerne, they're okay with Chick-fil-A. Everybody likes Chick-fil-A. You know, that doesn't maybe take that adds to their quality of life value, whereas maybe a McDonald's wouldn't. And so that's definitely on the horizon. Chick-fil-A is on the radar, as I've been told. So I think somewhere, probably, if I had to guess, in the Sobo, South Boerne area is where it'll go one day.
And there's a little bumper sticker campaign going on right now. This one says, Boerne, Texas, better than ever. But there's one that you said you can't find anywhere.
You cannot find, in terms of driving around the businesses and finding one that says Boerne gone forever. It's, you know, you see it when you drive around, but the moment you go looking for it, it's harder to find. But you do see them around town, and it is a big campaign. You have the older folks who have been there for a very long time who say the old Boerne is gone forever, and you've got the business development, you've got the community who wants to see some of this growth to say it's better than ever.
Well, you've done a great job. You've dug very deep into this issue, and the growing pains continue, and thanks so much for shedding some light on this.
Not a problem.
All right. Thank you so much, Chris.
Let's talk weather.